Good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome once again to all our distinguished speakers, the audience, the participants, the entire stream of faculty, students, recruiters, parents who are watching this webinar live on all our social media platforms. We are very, very excited to be hosting this webinar with yet another set of very, very powerful, rich, diverse, experienced speakers who will be talking on a very interesting topic. So, without any further ado, I'll request my colleague Neha to start the meeting. Neha, over to you.
Thank you, Mekla. A very good morning, everyone. GHRDC welcomes you to today's webinar titled Engineering Education in India, Education that is Driving Changes and Creating Social Impact. Thank you, everyone, for taking our time and joining in with us today. We are very delighted to have with us experts from industry and academia for this discussion. On behalf of GHRDC team, I welcome our expert panel members. GHRDC, as many of you would be aware, is a 27 years old education research firm dedicatedly working in the education sector in the area of ranking, training, mentoring, and research with the very sole aim of working on upgrading the quality of education in various sectors and benchmarking the best of educational institutions in our country. The future of engineering education and industry is changing and changing fast, driven by technological advancements, increased focus on sustainability, emphasis on social impact through innovation, inclusivity, and many more such dynamic changes. Today's topic is about the discussion of such changes, their far-reaching impact on engineering education, and mindset and skills of engineers of today. We will now be inviting our distinguished speakers to talk about this exciting topic. Also, I would request our wonderful attendees as well as viewers on the live session of this webinar to type in any questions you have for our speakers. And you can type your questions in the chat box given along with the name of the speaker you want to address your questions to. Now I would like to introduce our eminent speakers for today. We have with us Dr. Ramkaran Singh, presently Vice Chancellor of ICMA University, Dehradun. Dr. Singh has over 34 years of teaching, research, administrative, and consultancy experience in top institutions and universities in India. He has worked on various topic, academic, and administrative positions during the tenure of his work and is a fellow member of various national and international academic, research, and administrative professional societies, including Japanese Society for the Promotion of Sciences, JSPS. With a bachelor's degree in civil engineering, master's in civil engineering, specialization in hydraulics engineering, and PhD in the area of hydraulics and water resources engineering, Dr. Singh is an alumni of BITS Pilani, awarded by JSPS with the postdoctoral fellowship since 2002-2004. He is the receiver of over 30 top national and international academic and research awards and has developed and taught over 55 different courses at the graduate, postgraduate, and pre-PhD level. He has the credit over 150 research papers in reputed peer-reviewed journals, including the Journals of Royal Society UK, with high impact factors and conference proceedings. He has authored 5 books and has 12 national and international published patents, out of which 7 international patents are granted in the USA, Germany, UK, and Australia in the latest thrust areas of engineering and technology, that is AI, machine learning, green technology, etc. Dr. Singh has also had a rich experience of working for national and international quality accreditations, including ABET accreditation of USA, and has copyright on machine learning model and required data sets in the CDM, that is Clean Development Mechanism, to measure the carbon footprint of AI, artificial intelligence technologies 2024. He has completed several national and international research projects as principal investigator, funded by DST Government of India, GTZ Germany, SNV Netherlands, JSPS Japan, UNESCO, IUSSTF, UKERI, etc. We very warmly welcome you, sir. We also have with us Dr. Nitin Wali, sir, with over 25 years of extensive and rich cross-functional and cross-geography leadership experience, specializes in strategic alliances, stakeholder engagement, business development, and public policy. Mr. Wali is a results-driven senior professional, a bachelor's degree holder in engineering from Birla Institute of Technology, Ranchi, and a postgraduate diploma in business management from the International Management Institute, Delhi. Mr. Wali has held leadership roles in some of the world's most prominent technology organizations, including IBM, Oracle, Intel, and GoDaddy, where he excelled in fostering growth, strategic partnerships, and innovation. Equally adept at working with dynamic startups, he brings a founder's mindset to problem solving, operations, and strategic decision making. Mr. Wali has also successfully served in board level positions, contributing decision making. He has successfully served in contributing to governance, strategy, and organizational excellence. He combines a proven ability to drive transformative initiatives with a deep understanding of the global technology and digital ecosystem. In his previous role as Senior Director for South Asia at ICANN, he led global stakeholder engagement, collaborating closely with governments, academia, civil society, and industry to advance digital inclusion and internet governance. He led efforts that were pivotal in strengthening digital ecosystems and enhancing multi-stakeholder dialogue to drive sustainable digital transformation. As a board member of the India SME Forum, India's largest not-for-profit small business association, Mr. Wali actively mentors businesses on leveraging the internet, adopting digital best practices, and embracing innovation to scale their operations. A passionate advocate for technology-driven societal impact, he is on a mission to foster digital transformation and inclusivity across India. He regularly mentors students and young innovators through the Atal Innovation Mission under NITI Aayog. He's currently authoring a book that explores the secret sauce behind turning good organizations into great ones, with a focus on fostering cultures of innovation, trust, and empathy. We very warmly welcome you, sir. And we have our Executive Director, Mekhla Sinha of GHRDC, who will be acting as a moderator for the discussion today. With this, I would request Mekhla to now take over and initiate the panel discussion. Thank you, Mekhla.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Neha. Once again, a very, very warm welcome to both our distinguished speakers. We are very excited, like I mentioned right in the beginning. This is a topic which is very close to our heart. And the inputs and insights shared by both of you will go a long way in encouraging our students, guiding them, helping them in whatever way possibly it can. So my first question is going to be to Nitin Wali. Sir, I will dive into a very interesting question that's asked to us by the student community the most number of times. And it's one of the most common questions, but it never goes out of fashion in spite of being asked so many times, because every time the student community wants to know the answer to this question, the responses vary and they're very rich and diverse. And I know this is a topic which is close to your heart, so I'll dive quickly into it. So the question that I'd like to pose to you today is, what, according to you, are the crucial set of skill sets that students or engineering graduates or aspiring engineering graduates should be focusing on, even for students who are currently in engineering courses and are preparing to get out into the industry, into the market? What crucial skills do you think they should be working on, imbibing, inculcating? And also from a social responsibility point of view, both generic and this aspect, if you could throw some light on this. So over to you.
Sure. So thank you, Mekhla, for first of all inviting me here. I'm sure there are lots of folks listening in, so I'm hoping that some of the things that we talk about today will actually have some bearing on their career and the path forward, right? Specifically coming to your question, right? And that's quite interesting, like the way you put it out, right? I mean, obviously, when people want to are in the stand of getting into the graduation piece, they are looking at ways and means in which they can kind of be at least a step ahead of the rest of the pack, if you may, in that sense, right? But I think from an industry perspective, there are a couple of pieces, right? One is certainly the technical expertise that's required, right? But I think the other piece that's also very, very relevant, and I think maybe more relevant now today, is in terms of the soft skills that make folks ready to contribute meaningfully to society and to organizations as and when they go forward, right? So if you look at, say, even if you start at the technical proficiency first, right? the core engineering skills that you're supposed to grasp during your engineering days, right? Be it mechanical, civil, electrical, cloud computing, AI, anything that you're trying to do, those certainly are essential. I mean, that's a given anyway, right? And that's what everybody essentially has, right? So employees certainly value that a lot, right? But having said that, there are other pieces beyond that also, right? Which are very, very critical. So there could be things like problem solving skills. Look at how people are looking at innovation. How are they looking at design thinking, things which are slightly different and which really go a long way when you're actually looking to look at real world examples and working in organizations. The other pieces, even on the soft side, if I may kind of add, there are things like collaboration, teamwork. I know this sounds very boring, and I think we talked about it some time back as well. But these are skills which are really, really more relevant today, right? When you talk about technical skills, like I talked about earlier, those are truly transactional and operational in that sense, right? And the way technology is kind of changing, you have a set of skills which are relevant today. They may not be relevant in the next 2 years, right? When we were growing up, that time period was much larger, right? You could learn something around Oracle, and 10 years down the road, you might need to relearn. But that's not the case today. So these soft skills are very, very critical. The other piece, I think, again, on the soft skills is things like communication, right? I think a lot of our engineering grads certainly need to work on that. That's something that you need to be very, very clear on. So communication, how do you do documentation? How do you do reporting? These are things and skills which, of course, take some time to build in. But if you have a mindset to actually learn those pieces, I think those are very, very critical. And coming specifically to, I think, the social impact piece and the social awareness piece, right? I think a couple of pieces that are also relevant are actually being aware, right? So awareness of policies, things that the government is doing, the initiatives the government is doing. So for example, again, from a digital perspective, things like Digital India, what does that inculcate? What are smart cities all about? Try and have that learning framework and be a lifelong learner. That's what I keep on telling folks who can catch up with me. That try and be a lifelong learner and just don't stop that, hey, I've done my 4 years of engineering, I've done my 2 years of masters. Now I'm the master of my game and I know everything there. So those are the pieces I think that one needs to be kind of be aware of. So yeah, I'll just stop here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, like you said, this list never goes out of fashion. It's always something that students need to constantly work on. And I think one of the biggest takeaway from me, from your response, is that you have to be a lifelong learner, no matter how educated or wise or experienced you may be, but you must always maintain that learning attitude. So thank you for that. So, Dr. Singh, my next question to you. As Nitin spoke about the list of skill sets that one needs to look at as an engineering graduate or as an aspiring engineering student, what, according to you, are the kind of collaborations? Because again, this webinar is something which is being watched by a lot of engineering educational institutions around the country. So if you could throw some light on what kind of collaboration should engineering institutions work on with the industry, wherein some of these projects can be taken up to develop these skill sets of these students. If you could just give us some examples of that.
First of all, I should like to make sure that I'm audible to all of you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm very thankful to GHRDC and especially Madam Mekhla Sinha Madam and Miss Neha Kapoor Madam to organizing this particular webinar session. And keeping in mind taking the experts from academia as well as industry both. So this is a very meticulous plan. And a very important topic has been taken over here, especially in the time when India is passing through a huge educational reform in all educational sector, including engineering education. And we are talking about the industry 5.0, education 4.0, where we are working with the challenges which are linked with the modern world. And with the pace, the new knowledge is evolving globally. It is very, very important for the Indian community and the professional to work with the latest science and technology. And if we say that what is the difference between science and technology, technology is the applied part of science. And especially in the modern education system, India is doing very good. Some of our professionals who has come out from Indian educations are doing very good name in the global market, whether it is a job assigned to the Google CEO, or it is the CEO of the Microsoft, or and so many other important companies led by the Indian community in the area of IT technology, in the area of space technology, in the area of medical sciences, in the area of pharmaceutical sciences, biotechnology, and so on. Endless list is there. And we are doing wonderful job in the global community. The credit goes to Indian education system and its holistic view. But there is always a scope to improve time to time. That is the reason the new education policy came in India, NEP 2020. And whatever is the shortcoming is there in our education, if the new education policy is implemented in the real spirit, we are going to sort out the challenges which are going to come in next couple of decades to us. And in that new education policy, a lot of good thing has come, which is already being followed in the Western world. And especially if I refer and give the credit to the American universities. And on the top of that, I give the credit to the MIT Boston, which used to be the top institute in engineering education all time in the modern science and engineering education. And most of the best academic practices in new education policy we have taken from there, whether it is a link with the academic flexibility, whether it is linked with the lateral exit and re-entry options, whether it is linked with the academic bank of credit options, so that the education to Indian community can be provided at each and every corner with a very affordable cost and with the latest pedagogies. If I say the pedagogy, there are the 5 skills which are very important as per the Bloom taxonomy. The first thing is the knowledge, second thing is the cognitive skills, and the third thing is the interpersonal skills, fourth is the communication skills, and the fifth one is the psychomotors. So if our teaching learning evolves around these 5 taxonomy features and we inculcate these values, so our education will be very holistic. And moreover, we should also keep in mind, apart from the Bloom taxonomy parameter, we should also, earlier we were only talking about the intelligent questions, IQ. But in the present education system, EQ and SQ are the equally important. Emotional questions and the spiritual questions. Reason being, humans are not the robot. When we work as a professional, we should work as a professional. We should work as a human being. So our knowledge base should be also holistic, and our life should be holistic. So the concept like sustainability and the sustainable development goals, which has been brought to the world society by United Nations, 17 sustainable development goals, they need to be the part of teaching learning process and the course curriculum, not only for the sake of 2 credits or 3 credit courses, but it need to be integrated in our entire teaching learning process. And same thing is, the world is heading towards the energy crisis. So if we talk about the carbon footprint, energy footprint, and footprint related to the natural resources, they all should be sustainable, so that we should make available these resources to the future generation, decades after decades, with optimum quality and quantity. That is the way our education should go. And more and more challenges in the times to come, our job market is going to be the skill-based job. And that is a very important for the educational institutions and this generation students and the community to prepare themselves for the modern education system, which is going to be a skill-based system. Those days has gone when people used to get a job and they retire from the same job. and then they get a lot of service benefits, pension and other things to lead their retired life and so many other things. But in present days, we also during our course of professional life, we also need to plan for our retirement age. We need to update our knowledge on day-to-day basis because knowledge is evolving with very fast pace. So our professionals should prepare themselves keeping those things in mind. Whatever is the relevant today, tomorrow it will become obsolete. So what is the new thing is coming tomorrow, they should be ready to adapt with a greater ease so that they can deliver as a professional what is required tomorrow. So that is a very important for the science, engineering, and all sort of educations. And these days, the education is not going to be seen purely you as an engineer, you as a medical sciences, but more and more the jobs are going to be multidisciplinary in nature. So you as a professional, if you are going to perform as a multidisciplinary person, that is going to become more important. So in our course curriculum also, we need to bring the interdisciplinarity and multidisciplinarity in the real sense. And earlier, the very now coming, taking this as a base, coming to your original questions, how we should integrate the university and industry together so that our students community should get benefited. Many a time it happens that that particular linkage is missing in our actual education system. When we send our student for the entrepreneurship, for the internship programs, some places we call as a practice school, like in BITS Pilani system, this industry training is called as a practice school training. So it is in two parts, practice school 1 and practice school 2. Practice school 1 is for 2 months. A student goes during the summer vacation, and practice school 2 is for 6 months, for entire semester, 20 credits or so. And practice school 1 is 5 credits or so. So when this particular concept started, people were thinking simply they have to go industry and get a A4 size certificate that this fellow came and joined the industry and came here for 2 months and completed his or her internship. This kind of the arrangement is not going to work. In the modern days, when the student goes to industry, they should perform in the industry same like the professionals works there. They should be paid for that. They should be recognized for that. And they should work in a real sense with the industry people. They need not to be considered as a cheap manpower they have visited here. Just give a certain piece of work, they will complete and do that. I remember when we used to go 6-month practice school training in the various practice school center all over India, in Pan India, recognized by the BITS Pilani system. They used to be the CSIR laboratories also. They used to be top multinational companies also. They used to be companies designing the chips and so many other things also. And whenever we as a student used to go there, we used to perform same as a professional. I remember in 1991, when I went to Yemen Dastur company, Calcutta, in a RCC design company, I designed a overhead water tank, which was same as a designed by a professional civil engineer, a structural civil engineer. And for that 6-month training, I was paid monthly, same as the other professional who works in the company. And I came with a big confidence in my heart and mind that being a student, I went and performed in the company same as the various other professional perform. But I have been created a system over there. I am thankful to BITS Pilani that similar number of the faculty member, they also put as the off-campus faculty member. And they used to visit morning till evening, and whatever we do, they also evaluate professionally to us. We are supposed to write a technical reports. We used to write a daily diary. Suppose I am working from 9 to 6 in the company, Then when 5 o'clock, I am leaving the company, 10 minutes before, I used to write my diary. And what I did from morning till evening, I need to write in that diary. And then the professor who is supervising my work in the evening, he come and sign and check my diary on day-to-day basis. So the academic rigor should be followed in a real sense. This should not be simply on the papers. And the university and industry should work hand in hand. This is the way things happens in the Western world. When the student goes to industry, they are not simply treated as a cheap manpower, but they are treated as a real professionals who has come from the university. They are assigned the job in a real sense, and the quality of the job is checked on day-to-day basis, so that when they are going 6 months later, whatever the piece of work they have done is the professional one. So when a student get a 4 years BTech degree in their hand, apart from degree in their hand, they are also having the confidence in their heart and mind that they are the engineer in a real sense. So this is, I am giving one example to emphasize, but like that, similar kind of the things should happen in the university environment when our professors are teaching in the classrooms. They should be equipped with the different kind of the cases which they take. For example, presently where I am working in a fine university system, we are very good globally in the research case study-based teaching for the management student, MBA student. And the 7,000 case studies written by IFHE, Hyderabad, with the society is being globally followed. They purchase these cases, university like Oxford, Stanford, and top universities of the world refer those cases to teaching the management students. And those cases are written something like when the economic crisis has happened in South Korea, how they have managed that particular crisis. If a professor is teaching, referring that case and giving that case in advance to students, management MBA student, please take this case, study for 3 days. Next time when you are coming into the class, then we shall teach this case and we will take their views. Then the teaching learning will be at next level. Then the cognitive skills, psychomotor parameters, interpersonal skills, the communication skills, inclusivity in the education, all which we are talking is not the buzzword. They will be inculcated into the student mind in the real sense. If I say the teaching should be the research-based teaching, then it should be in a real sense. For example, if I am going to take some lectures related to the CDM technology, carbon footprint, carbon market, so I have a confidence of working with the IPCC team. Dr. R.K. Pachauri, who got the Nobel Peace Prize, and he has been the chairman of IPCC for 2 terms. I worked with him. I wrote the IPCC reports, which has been presented in Kyoto protocols and so many UN meetings. They have the international approvals. So those are the science and research and engineering in the real sense. If I am, as a professor, going to teach that in class, and I'm going to refer that material, it will have a different impact. That is the meaning of research-based teaching. So now India has come to a level where the teaching learning should not be for the sake of teaching learning, but the teaching learning should be for the sake of what is the modern requirement for the society. No doubt, in the times to come, the education is going to become more expensive if we are going to use the latest pedagogical tools, pedagogical technology. So the affordability of the education is going to be not so easy. But these are the kind of the challenges which we are going to face, and we have to take those challenges in a real sense. And students, if I give the example, like in modern time, all the students coming in engineering educations rushing towards the computer science degree. Sometimes I feel pity and pathetic. Reason being, if we are going to give the importance of the education, no degree is inferior in itself. Whether it is a civil engineering, whether it is mechanical engineering, whether it is electronics, whether it is electrical engineering, whether it is a chemical engineering, whether it is a biotechnology, whether it is a biomedical engineering, whether it is a computer science. Computer science is a simply tool which is being used by all engineers. I, as a civil engineer, use more computer science than the computer science engineers. Presently, I am supervising 8 PhD students who are developing the algorithm. Even the people with the computer science background, they cannot develop those algorithms. So the challenges is not with the area in which we are pursuing our studies. Challenges is learning the new knowledge. And when engineer reaches to a engineering colleges or universities, he is reaching to a particular aptitude level. So that aptitude level is going to be important for him or her. It is not like what degree they have earned. It is like what knowledge they have earned, what pedagogical tools they have learned, how much aptitude they have developed. If you have a right kind of the aptitude developed, you can understand, you can read and understand anything and everything at any point of time in your life. For example, when I used to be students, I used to study the programming languages like Fortran and Pascal, being a civil engineer. But today I can also do the coding in Python, which is the latest tool for the writing the computer programs. And writing a computer program is not something like a rocket technology. It is just a translation work of the formulas and so many difficult calculation techniques available. We are making a translation in a machine language, computer language, which is giving the for a giving input, giving the output. So it is not a difficult for a civil engineer also. It is not difficult for a mechanical engineer also, because they have a right kind of the aptitude to learn. And these days, students are, when they are taking, when they are born in 10, 12 years, they are the expert in the, every time laptops are there in their hand with the i7 configurations. They have the latest kind of the mobile phone in their hand. So all the basic knowledge, aptitude which is required, they are learning right from their birth. So what very additional things which they are going to learn as a computer scientist, and why they should run behind something? Being a mechanical engineer, you are putting additional knowledge of automobile sector, as well as you are good in the computer science related tools. So, so when I graduated the institute like BITS Pilani, that time in 1985 also people used to talk civil engineering is saturated, there is no job, there is no this. If keeping this kind of talk, I would have selected my branch. I would have never would have been the successful professional in my life. In my 35 years, I have never shortage of jobs in my hand, either in industry or in academia. I worked 15 years globally in any country and every country around the world. And I gave to the mankind and humanity the best possible knowledge possible, whether it is America, or whether it is the African continent, whether it is the Middle East, whether it is Japan, every continent I went and worked. The kind of the contribution which I made as a professional, I am proud and happy about it. So in modern words, our engineers should come out from an engineering college, from an engineering institution with this confidence level. 3 years before I came to Dehradun and joined as a vice chancellor in this university, now and then when I go and meet to the different meetings to the government officials, whether it is in Raj Bhavan, whether it is a meeting called by the Ministry of Higher Education or Ministry of other ministries, I am getting so many professionals who has come out from the BITS Pilani education. Like yesterday, I met with Mr. Raman, who is the principal secretary to Governor of Uttarakhand. Just I was talking, what was your previous academic background? He told that I did BTech in computer science from BITS Pilani, and I was a successful professional in USA working in top MNC. Then I decided I want to become a IAS. I came back to India, prepared for IAS, and in first attempt I become IAS. Now I'm principal secretary to governor. So if you have a knowledge and confidence, you can perform perfect in industry, you can perform perfect in policy making for the country, you can perform perfect in diplomacy, for so many things. These are the smart. Sometime like last week, the DG of Dehradun who joined, I was just reading that piece of news in the newspaper. That DG is 1995 batch BITS Pilani graduate. Then I thought he's a Director General of Police. How he got with the? Then I look his background. He's an engineer. He also completed his PhD from IIT Roorkee 3 years before. So he is doing equally good in the engineering as well as in the public policy, because he has a knowledge, he has a skill set. He is able to perform whatever he is willing to do that. So presently, our skill manpower, these are the couple of examples I am giving. Like that, I can give thousands of examples. Satya Nadella, who is the CEO of the Microsoft Office, is the alumni of MIT, Manipal Institute of Technology. I remember I got a chance to visit the Manipal to deliver a research talk in the Manipal University. Dr. Venkatesh invited, who is the current Vice Chancellor there. Please come and spend one day in my campus and have a look on the research activities in my campus and give your opinion and views. So I spent one day in his campus. It's a huge campus in 1,000 acres. And when I was comparing that campus with the American university, we found that campus is even superior than the American university campuses. I was amazed to see that campus infrastructure, teaching learning pedagogies, academic environment, academic blocks. I was just comparing that university with the Western University. I found nowhere it is inferior. It is far superior. So India being a hub of education, having these, I give the credit also to the private sectors who has contributed the quality education in India, either at school level, at higher education. I'm very happy. Apart from IITs, our top private institutions, engineering colleges, presently we have 1,200 universities in the country. And out of that, 600 to 700 universities are private universities, imparting the quality education in India. And we have lakhs and lakhs of institutions and engineering colleges in the country who are giving the quality educations to the engineers, creating the quality manpower to this country. Present gross enrollment ratio of the country is 25%, which Government of India is willing to take 50% in next couple of decades. In year 2047, we are going to celebrate 100 years of independence of this country. And we are willing to, among the top 3 trillion economy in the world, we want to become Vishwaguru. We want to become so many other global ambition we have. All these things are going to become possible only and only with the quality education in this country, with the right kind of the university and academic linkages, with the right kind of the education system, with the right kind of the implementation of NEP 2020. These are the topics which are very close to my heart. I can speak days and days. I can speak hours and hours. what are the challenges, what are the problems, how they can be addressed at the national level, how we should create a professional who should be really globally employable, what should be the quality in them. These are the issues on which we need to have a webinar, we need to have a discussion, we need to address the student community, we need to address the parents. Sometimes I feel our parents also need the mentoring. Our parents also need the guidance, help. They don't understand so many things, which is the need and requirement of the modern education system. They are not able to guide their wards, their children in a real sense. They need this kind of the webinar, this kind of the hand holding, this kind of the knowledge sharing platforms to be addressed, to be shared with so many things. So the question and the topic is very, very interesting for me, and I am very happy to talk on this, but respecting to the time, I stop my discussion at this point of time. And thank you, Madam Mekhla, for raising this question and taking my views. Thank you so much.
Most welcome, sir, and thank you for such a wonderful response. I think you've covered quite a few crucial areas, which I'll take up in my discussion also right away. But I think I'll pick up one aspect of what you spoke about and post that question to Nitin. Sir spoke a lot about sustainability, and that's the buzzword, especially after COVID, which has taken absolute forefront focus when it comes to education, when it comes to industry, and catering to that aspect. What ways do you think that industry can, train students to focus on that area? And how is really engineering innovations working on some of those sustainability related problems and providing solutions? If you could tell us something about that, Nitin.
Sure, Mekhla. So yeah, absolutely. I think Dr. Singh's response was amazing. So I also got to learn a lot of things. In fact, just one piece while he was talking, he was, before I jump into your question, he talked about SQ and EQ, right? So that was a very, very critical element, I think, which I think students today certainly need to kind of be equipped with. And when he was talking about it, I was reminded of a quote by Winston Churchill. He was asked to define success, and he said, "Success is going from failure to failure and not giving up." So I think that kind of a resilient mind space is something which is very, very critical for not only students, I guess, for all of us to imbibe in our lives to move forward. So just wanted to kind of add that one bit there. But I think coming specifically to your question, Mekhla, I think industries, worldwide and not only India, are leveraging engineering innovations to tackle sustainability challenges. So what they're trying to do is they're focusing on reducing the environmental impact, conserving resources, and essentially trying to promote what we call circular economies, right? And if you look at innovation also, there are multiple places and fields in which innovation has really happened, right? If you look at, say, for example, renewable energy. Now, solar and wind technologies have been around for a long time, but over the last decade or so, the development in that field has been really amazing, actually, in terms of efficiency of solar panels, in terms of wind turbines and hybrid energy systems that have been developed. There's been a quantum shift in terms of what you could potentially do. Back again to energy, if you look at storage technology itself has moved manifold over the last couple of years, right? Only about 5 years back, we were just talking about EVs as a possibility. Now look at where we are, right? We started off with lithium-ion batteries and solid-state batteries. Even those have taken a quantum shift in terms of energy efficiency. So those are things that have actually moved forward because of energy, because of engineering in the sustainability field, right? If you look at green manufacturing, now they've using things like AI and IoT, energy is being optimized in manufacturing. So processes itself are becoming extremely energy efficient. Sustainable materials are actually being used. They're biodegradable, recyclable, low carbon, things like that have already been done. Back home here in India, if you talk about things, ITC is doing a lot of work in that space and using ITC, packaging materials and solutions, using recycled material. We talk about innovation in the water management space. And again, IoT is being used very extensively in enabling devices that can monitor water usage and reduce wastage. All of these things, typically sound very boring when you talk about it. But and things like, what happens if stop water usage at one tap or 10 taps? How does it really make a difference? But if you collate all of that together for the whole country, that's a massive saving towards sustainability. Then even if you look at urban infrastructure, about 2 decades back, there was one building in Gurgaon that was the greenest building, right? But now there are multiple buildings that have come up in terms of energy efficiency and green building in that sense. They're using smart HVAC systems in construction, energy efficiency, solar panels, everything is all coming together. And I think the beauty of all of this is that a lot of new technologies are coming up, and a lot of new technologies are actually being integrated into all of these solutions. So all of that is helping us move towards sustainability. I think the piece that I talked about, circular economy itself, right? So in terms of even practices around circular economy are being used in multifolds and multi places, right? There's waste to energy kind of pieces that are happening. There's e-waste recycling that's happening. And I think back to what Dr. Singh said about the spiritual quotient itself, right? I think we as Indians, if you mean that's it, right, kind of started off that nothing should be wasted and everything has a purpose, and things can be used and reused, and maybe the cycle of life and karma and all of that. I think that's now being used pretty much in industry. And it may be a buzzword in the US, which started off, but essentially I think we should take credit for that piece in terms of actually having developed that. And the last piece I think around this, I would probably want to talk about is about transportation, right? And I think I did mention about EVs in the first place. But again, adoption of those EVs and development of those EV cars and machines and charging mechanisms and infrastructure itself and their designs actually are a big step ahead for sustainability in the larger scheme of things. Just in terms of how students can be trained for being more focused on sustainability. I think the good piece certainly is that the generation today that we have is certainly much more aware. Of course, there is the internet to create that awareness for sure, which is a good thing. But having said that, I think inherently kids or youngsters in today's economy don't really just talk about sustainability. They really mean that they want to do sustainable practices also. But potentially what we could do things is we could integrate sustainability into the curriculum, through specialized courses and maybe practical exposure. And again, Dr. Singh talked about some of those pieces, but maybe that could be fast forwarded and really built in, right? Again, when I was doing engineering and when Dr. Singh probably was doing engineering, maybe that wasn't really the thrust of your education, right? It was 4 years of education, 2 year engineering, know fluid dynamics, know all your subjects, get through, and you're an engineer. But having said that, I think promoting all of these pieces through curriculum would be certainly a great step forward in terms of making that front and forward of our education system, right? And a couple of other pieces I think is in terms of even promoting innovation and research. Maybe if that is done through things like competitions and hackathons, which are done on a very regular basis. Again, that's quite common now in most universities and colleges. But maybe if that is also done on a more war footing basis, I think that should go a great way in making students be more aware about sustainability and be ready and trained with a sustainability focus. And I think the other piece, maybe the last piece that I really want to talk about here is in terms of skill development in emerging technologies, right? And I think I mentioned that earlier on also. There is so much of new technology that's coming on board, and it's actually being used also. Maybe that's something that our students need to be kind of be aware of. And maybe again have an entrepreneurship mindset that hey, something that's new may not necessarily be bad. You could kind of go with that mindset. I think those are a couple of things that could potentially help us work in the sustainability space.
But then, in fact, I'll take this question just one step further for you.
Sure.
You spoke so nicely and beautifully about the sustainability aspect. We have another aspect which is again gaining a huge amount of focus and momentum, when it comes to engineering industries and of course entrepreneurial ventures, and that is social impact, right? So again, this is a piece which is now gaining a lot of traction. Like sustainability, there are industrial solutions and industrial innovations that are happening, which is completely focused, of course, towards commercial aspect also, but towards with the main aim of having a social impact. If you could also tell us a few examples of how it's happening in the industry, because this will give our student community a lot of ideas in terms of how they can, get into some of these aspects in their career later on also.
No, absolutely, sure. So, I mean, you could have social impact and still make a little bit of money. So there's nothing wrong in making money. So I think that's one thing. Although having said that, obviously, if you are looking at making a societal impact in that sense, maybe money is not the foremost thing for you, which certainly makes sense. Having said that, maybe there've been so many things that have happened in India, right? And we know that in India we certainly need a lot more happening, which can have a societal impact and alleviate some of the challenges that we have, right? This could be across multiple spaces, right? Healthcare, agriculture, environment, infrastructure. I mean, I guess you could just pick a space and you could potentially still make a significant social impact there, right? So I've pretty much worked in the IT in the internet space all my life. So maybe I'll just talk about a couple of pieces. First, let me start with maybe in that space only. I mean, I think the earliest example right now is from the COVID-19 space, right? The Arogya Setu app, which came up, right? It was in the healthcare and technology space. Again, it was a government-funded piece, and government kind of built it out. But that was amazing, right? I mean, imagine 1.4 billion people, contact tracing mobile app, which had to be developed. It got developed in, amazing amount of time, and you have to mitigate the spread of something like COVID-19, and obviously help millions, if not billions, in terms of, doing self-assessment, being aware of COVID and getting beyond that. I mean, if you look at the flip side, the US still had those cards. Most of Europe had just hard-coded cards, and we were already mobile and we've already done that for our people. So I think that's huge. I think that was one of the biggest pieces that's really happened in our memory right now. Second, again, in terms of healthcare, I'm sure most of us would have heard of things like the Jaipur foot. It's a low-cost prosthetic leg. Just developed several years back, maybe 2 decades back, or maybe 2.5 decades back, or maybe even more. But that's where I wouldn't call it cheap. It's inexpensive, but it's been developed for that purpose because there's so many poor people in our country who are amputees or who are amputated and actually need mobility, right? And this was developed just to help them. So as of, I think, a couple of years back, the number of people that have been helped was close to about 2.5 million odd people, right? That's, again, an amazing piece that's happened. There's also another impact by an organization called Sarvajal. They've created water ATMs. Again, back to the example on water management, but this is a solar-powered water purification dispensing unit that helps people in underserved areas. And this is also, again, very, very critical because obviously, even in cities, we don't get clean drinking water at affordable prices. What do you talk about, rural places where, even access to water itself is a big challenge. And I think the last piece that I really want to talk about is an application by another IT organization in that sense. It's called EarNet. And I'm sure Dr. Singh is aware of that. It's the Educational Research Network. It's, again, a Government of India piece. But essentially, that's an initiative that provides, internet and communication technologies to rural schools and colleges. Again, the impact of that is huge. It's amazingly huge. But I think that's helped bridge the digital divide for students in, underserved regions. So, I mean, like I said, there's so many pieces that you could potentially talk through and just pick a space, and maybe you could certainly do a lot more there in that space. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. Like I said, these are some new areas that have gained a lot of traction in the recent past, and of course, these trends will continue changing skill sets, of course, but some of these areas are now completely coming into focus as far as engineering education and industry is concerned. Dr. Singh, I would like to now take up. So we talked about skills, we talked about social impact, we talked about sustainability. You spoke about very extensively about the very close integration of industry and educational institutions. And you gave several examples of how that can happen and how that has been happening with your alma mater campus also. I would like to now also focus on two very interesting and another two very important areas, which again, engineering education has been focusing on. and that is inclusivity and diversity. Again, these are two aspects which are now being looked at in a very, very close manner and is being focused upon. So if you could tell us a little bit about how educational institutions, especially engineering educational institutions, can work on diversity and can work on inclusivity, both in terms of their student portfolio, in terms of their curriculum, in whatever aspect you feel that they should be focusing on.
Actually, this is a very good question, Mekhla, you raised. And without bringing these two aspects, our education is never going to be a holistic education. Especially country like India, it is very important. And if you see, our first Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru said, we have a unity within diversity. So that diversity, India has in a numerous aspects, and imparting the education in that diverse environment is a really challenge for us. And fortunately, Government of India has addressed a lot these issues, but still we have to go long way in this particular directions. Especially when I joined this particular campus, we normally take the intake from Pan India. So one is the diversity in the form of students coming from the different states with different food habits, with different cultural aspect, with different kind of languages, skills, and so many other things. Another thing is the diversity in terms of the university educational environment system. So in a same university system, we have suppose 5 schools imparting the area of education in law, education in management, education in science, education in engineering, education in pharmaceutical sciences. So how to address this diversity? So diversity within education, diversity from the different students coming from the diverse background, diverse places. And keeping in that, bring the inclusivity is a real challenge. And for example, while we give a 4 years BTech degree, so normally a student does 165 credit course. And eventually in 8 semesters, these courses are distributed close to 18 to 21 credit every semester. And a student does nearly 6 courses each and every semester to complete their degree in 4 years' time. And in new education policy, now we are not going to have any program for 3 years. Each and every program will be, each and every UG program is going to be for 4 years. And the last year program will be for the research year. That is the reason one important change has been brought, that immediately after UG degree, you can enroll for PhD without doing master degree, if your academic performance is 75% or more. So these are the lot of new kind of the changes has been brought in new education policy, keeping in mind, because when India became independence in 1947, all the time we followed the nomenclature and education system as per the British guidelines. So we have the courses like BSc, MSc for 3 years, 2 years, and the BTech, MTech is for 4 years, 2 years, like that. So now we are going to standardize all these things on one scale, and all our 4 years degree program is going to be the professional program. Even if you do 4 years BA in economics, you will be as competent as 4 years BTech degree engineer. If you do 4 years history program, you are as competent as 4 years BTech program. So each and every program, which is, if you do 4 years psychology program, you are as competent as engineer. So all our programs are important, whether it is a social sciences, whether it is a history, whether it is a linguistic, whether it is a engineering, because our society needs all kind of the professionals to grow holistically. And each and every kind of the student have the different kind of mindset to address. Suppose some student has a good skills in the economics, why he should be forced to study computer science? On the top of that, we want to also bring the inclusivity. On the top of that, we also want to respect the diversity by not respecting his or her interest. So there are many things happening in the society which have a virodhabhas. Virodhabhas is a Hindi word. In heart, something is there and we are doing something. So suppose somebody want to make their career in sports, why he or she not should be encouraged by their parents? Why they should be pushed into the computer science? So if the education is going to address in the country to pursue the interest of the students, those days has gone when the people used to work for livelihood, for bread and butter, for shelter. Now the time has come when the people should work for their interest. People should genuinely pursue what their heart speaks. So if we want to bring the diversity and inclusivity in the real sense, in educational system, in workplaces, in research institution, in industry, in academia, then we have to sensitize our people. You are as respectful, as dignified as a history graduate, as an engineer graduate, as a medical graduate. It is not like if you are a medical graduate, you are God. And if you are history graduate, you are nothing. It should not be like that. Because in childhood, we have been taught, if we are studying history, means it is studying about the life of Akbar and Babur and Humayun and so many other. History is not all about that. History can be history of science, history of nanotechnology, history of anything and everything which exists in the planet, and this will add value to the knowledge system. These kind of the changes I observed when sometime I was interacting with a history professor of Michigan University, USA, Dr. Bruce E. Seeley, my friend. He was the historian of technology. Then I, being a student from Indian background history, I was not understanding what history means what I have studied during my school days. And when I learned the perspective of history by Professor Bruce E. Seeley, I was immersed to conceive those ideas and thought. These are the way we can bring the inclusivity in society, in student, in manpower, in education. We respect anything and everything which we do. Then the quality will come in the work. Quality will come in the workplaces when the people will feel respected. Why United States of America stop to don't use the word like black and white? Don't use the word like pune. Don't use the word like chaprasi. If anybody is working in office, even he is giving a glass of water to me, he is a dignified, respectable employee in my office. He is a professional. So inclusivity can be brought only and only if we give respect to the people on all workplaces. Then only if we are sitting in a 5-star hotel and somebody is serving, he will serve as a professional because he is seen as a trained professional and he is respected for that job. Why a person in the United States become famous in United States of America, not in India? Because chef is an inferior job? No, it is not an inferior job. This job is as important as an engineer job. This job is as important as a medical doctor job. If we bring this kind of the respect in our professionals, whatever the, even take the example of the law graduates, everything we gauge with the pay package, then inclusivity can't be brought into. Inclusivity can be brought only and only if the things are given with the respect, work culture, we talk women empowerment, we should sometime also ask, does these things are happening in the real sense? Does our workplaces are safe? Does our streets are safe? Does our cities are safe? We should ask from our heart to bring the inclusivity in the society, to bring the inclusivity in the education, to bring the inclusivity in the quality of education. Anything we do, it should happen in a real sense. I remember in 2002, I was working in one research lab as a postdoctoral fellow in Japan, in Tsukuba Science City. That research lab was NIRE Japan, as a postdoctoral research fellow. I got an announcement that next week you need not to do research, but you need to come and to the office same timing. But lot many students will come from the countryside, and you should explain what is going on in your research labs. Then I inquire what is this all about. They said next week is the golden week. The farmers will be free. Paddy cultivation is over. The farmers will be free. So the countryside students will be free, and those students can be visit in that. There is a concept of science city in Japan. So all the research labs are located in the science city in Japan. So all the students who are studying in schools, they will go to the research lab and see what is the research work going on. And this is a responsibility of the researcher to explain them what is going on there. They will be the school children. So 1 week, students keep coming batch after batch, and they keep to ask very interesting questions, each and everything we do in the research labs. And then when they go back in 1 week, they are mentally prepared that the research organizations are open for them for a week. And they are going and asking the question, research question. And whenever those students from the school education, they will come to the higher education, their motto will be different. Their confidence level will be different, because they have perceived their dream in visiting those research labs. And government has brought a policy in place and open the research labs. They have stopped the production, they have stopped the work, only given that time to the students. No doubt this we are also doing. So our research organization, our companies, our multinational organization, they should not be always behind GDP. They should not be always behind Sensex. They should not be always behind. They should come in a real sense forward to helping the society. Because in that society, only our children are also there. They are also going to be the part of that society tomorrow. We should not see individually what I am doing. We should see in a real sense what we are doing for society. Everybody, when they started talking big being in companies and multinational companies, big packages, big things, they used to be a student at some point of time in school and colleges and universities. What is the grade they have done just after reaching in 2 years in the corporate? So this kind of the inclusivity, this kind of the diversity respect can be addressed in a real sense in this country, and we are far behind to the Western world, and we have to go a long way in these directions. Inclusivity, diversity is the huge challenge for this country, which need to be brought. And there is no mistake of anybody, because this country was ruled by Mughals for thousands and thousands of years, then English people 250 years. So we have not come out of those kind of mindsets. It may decades, generation and generations to come out with those mindsets. But these transformations are happening with a very fast pace in the country. Our country is reforming in all sectors: education, industry, everything very high pace. And we are going to do wonder in the times to come. And we are going to address the diversity and inclusivity in each and every aspect of life. But Mekhla, you have raised very, very important questions. Without these two things, our education can never will be a successful education. Thank you for this question, madam.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. In fact, I'd like to point out that, we spoke about sustainability. We have, as an education research firm, we have obviously been very closely associated with colleges and universities all over the country. We've done some work in East Africa as well. And in our experience of looking at the education sector evolve and grow, through a curve, what we've seen is that things like sustainability have now started catching up with some of the education sectors. It is, of course, still a very new emerging area, which is being looked at. For example, in business management education, we are looking at centers of, we obviously have centers of entrepreneurship, centers of innovation, and centers of research, which has been established since many decades. But now we are also seeing a trend where centers of sustainability are also being established in some of these institutions. And a lot more focus is being deliberated upon in terms of the curriculum, in terms of the involvement with the industry. And of course, we have a long way to go. But I'm really happy that we spoke about these topics, which are very, very important for engineering institutions, faculty, students, and recruiters, even the industry, to look at in terms of how they are going to evolve, in the future. Due to paucity of time, we'll stop here. But I can't thank both of you enough. Both of you come from such a rich experience and background. And I hope we are able to take this conversation into a part 2 conversation, because there are so many questions that we still have, which we would like to ask both of you. So we'll continue on that series as well. But once again, thank you so much for your inputs, for your time, and most importantly, for guiding our student community, because they are the ones who are looking at this webinar as one of our main stakeholders. And I think Sir spoke so much about the fact that they should not look at just what the trend is and, really focus on what their interest aspect is. Nitin spoke about the skill set aspect, which is, I think, a very, very important. He talked about failure being one of the main parameters of success. So there's a lot to take away from today's webinar. And I thank both of you with my heart. Neha, over to you for a closing note. Thank you note.
Yeah, this was a very fruitful and enriching session. And on behalf of the whole GHRDC team, I would like to express my appreciation and gratitude for all the participants for taking out time to attend the webinar. And our very, very sincere thanks to both of you, our panel of experts, and your presence has been invaluable and has undoubtedly made this webinar a great success. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Singh. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, madam. Thank
once again. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
A special thank to Nitinji, Mekhla madam, and Neha madam, that we judiciously utilize this 1 hour discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot. Bye.